Nitra, also known by other alternative names, is a city in western Slovakia, situated at the foot of Zobor Mountain in the valley of the river Nitra, with a population of about 80,524. It is the fifth largest city in Slovakia. Nitra is also one of the oldest cities in Slovakia. It was the political center of the Principality of Nitra. Today, it is a seat of a kraj and an okres. Etymology. The first mention of Nitra dates back to the 9th century. The name of the city is derived from the Nitra River. The name is Indo-European, but the question of its pre-Slavic or Slavic origin has not been satisfactorily answered yet. Nitra might be derived from the Old Indo-European root neit, nit meaning to cut or to burn, using a derivation element r. The same root is still present in the Slovak verb nieti, but also in other Indo-European languages like Latin niteri or in German schneiden. Another view to the origin of the name is related to the Latin noviatua nuiita, meaning new territory behind the limes. The hypothetical Latin name could be adopted by the Quadi and later by the Slavs, as the first written records contain also suffix -ava. Particularly in older literature, the suffix is interpreted as an Indo-European Old Germanic basis ahwa. However, the suffix -ava can be found also in numerous toponyms with a clearly Slavic origin and without any relationship to rivers. Although the existence of hydronym Nitrava remains hypothetical, and all versions with the suffix are related to a location, not a river. Thus, the form Nitrava can refer to a larger property or territory around the river Nitra. Both forms were probably used concurrently and were recorded already in the 9th century. The name has different varieties in different languages, including Latin Nitria, German Nutra, Hungarian Nitra, and Nitria. History. Before the 5th century, the oldest archaeological findings in Nitra are dated around 25,000–30,000 years ago. The locality has been inhabited in all historical periods in last 5,000–7,000 years. Several European archaeological cultures and groups were named after important archaeological discoveries in Nitra and near surroundings. Nitra culture. Brojdeni Nitra group, a Lusianki group of Lengyel culture. The people of Madarovska culture built the first fortification on Castle Hill already around 1600 BCE. In the Iron Age, a large hill fort was built on Zobor Hill and additional smaller hill forts on the Lupka Hill and in Drazovce. Several Celtic settlements are known from the 5th–1 stone centuries. The Celts minted silver tetradrachms known as coins of Nitra type and probably also built a hill fort in the locality Nvrska. In the Roman period, the Germanic tribe of Quadi settled in the area, which is also mentioned as the possible capital. The largest Germanic settlement from the migration period in Slovakia was unearthed in Nitra-Perovske Haj. 5th to 10th centuries. The first Slavs arrived to Slovakia at the end of the 5th and early 6th century. The early Slavs settled mainly in the lowlands near the waterflows. The highest density of the settlements is documented just in the area of Nitra. As the Avars expanded to the territory of Slovakia in the latter half of the 7th century and early 8th century, the border between Slavic and Slavo-Avric territory moved toward Nitra. A spiritual cemetery in Nitra-Dolne Kriskani lay on the northern border of mixed settlement area. The importance of Nitra for the Slavs began to grow in the 8th century, and thereafter it evolved to administrative center of the wider region. Nitra became the center of the Principality of Nitra. 3 of the 11 extant copies of the Conversio Bagoriorum a Carantanorum contains a reference to a church consecrated for Pribina in his domain called Nitra.With. The problem of Pribina's church and the dating of this event was addressed by numerous scholars. Most of them have no doubt about reliability of information and associates this event with Nitra. In 833, Pribina was ousted by the Moravian prince Mojmir I, and both regions were united into the early medieval empire of Great Moravia. In the 9th century, Nitra was one of the largest agglomeration in the Central Europe. The agglomeration consisted of fortified centers and more than 20 non-fortified villages. It spread out on a territory exceeding present town, making it a real metropolis of its times. The Slavs built large castle on Castle Hill. Further important locations Navrsk and Martinski Vrch were probably also fortified. Other hills, some of them fortified already in prehistoric times, had guarding and refugial function. Surrounding villages were used as an agricultural hinterland for princely retinue and for specialized production. More than 40 burial sites are documented on 20 square kilometers. In all burial sites, exclusively inhumation rite was practiced. Instead of cremation typical for earlier Slavicis, the known necropolises with military equipment around the perimeter of the agglomeration probably belonged to the settlements guarding access roads to the center. The city reached its height during the reign of Svetoplag I. During his rule, the first known Christian bishopric in Slovakia was established in Nitra in 880. The question of origin of monastery of St. Hippolytus has not been sufficiently answered yet. Even if findings of ceramics documented a settlement in the location, its character is unclear. 10th to 13th centuries, the development of Nitra was temporarily slowed down after the disintegration of Great Moravia. However, Nitra did not follow the fate of other prominent Great Moravian centers, and until the 13th century it preserved its status as a prestigious center. According to older assumptions, Nitra should have been occupied by masses of Magyar units, predictably followed by significant destruction of the previous settlements. However, late archaeological research does not support this theory. The extinction horizon is not documented for any known settlement, and the continuity between the graveyards from different periods remained high. In the 10th century, the settlement structure was not affected by any observable destruction process. A significant change in the ethnic composition, the continuity of Slavic settlements and economic infrastructure was preserved. Archaeological evidence pointing to an early presence of Magyars directly in Nitra has not been found yet, except of the warrior grave in Nitra Malinas. Paradoxically, the presence is documented north of Nitra and from peripheral areas with more rural character, where they joined the majority Slavic population. Here, the members were buried together with the Slavs in common graveyards. Later, both cultures merged into the common Bijelo-Brdo culture, with ethnic-specific attributes fading away. Political affiliation of the territory in the 10th and the early 11th century is unclear. The influence of Hungarian Arpads, Czech Przemyslads and Polish Piasts is being considered. Finally, Nitra became an integral part of the Kingdom of Hungary and the seat of several Arpads princes. The town survived the invasion of Mongols in 1241. In 1248, Beakut-Leiv gave Nitra the privileges of a free royal town. In 1271–1272, Nitra was heavily damaged by the Czech king Ottokar II. The raids also damaged the bishop's property and therefore, as compensation, Nitra was put under his administration in 1288. The town lost its royal privileges and in the next centuries it was unable to recover, mainly because of frequent military conflicts. 14th to 19th centuries. In the early 14th century, the town and the castle were damaged several times by Matthew III Csak. In the conflict between the king and oligarchy, the Bishop of Nitra remained loyal to the king. In 1313, the king confirmed bishopric privileges and extended them for the right to administer not only Nitra, but whole Nitra County. The town became a target of Hussite attacks in the 15th century, at the time defended by Ispan of Nitra County, Stibor of Stiborix, and later his son Stibor Bekov. After the Hungarian defeat at the Battle of Mohacs in 1526 and subsequent Ottoman advances into the Hungarian territory, Nitra was under threat of Ottoman attacks. They failed to capture the castle 3 times before they conquered it in 1663, when the city became a center of the Litra Sanjak, which bounded to Ivara Yale. The town was reconquered in 1685. The town was also affected by anti-Habsburg uprisings, from Stephen Boxke and Gabriel Bethelin uprisings in the 17th century to the Karuk uprisings from 1703 to 1711, and the town burned down in 1708 as a result of fights. It was renovated in the 18th century in the Baroque style. As a consequence of the revolutions of 1848, Nitra was awarded an independent self-government for the first time since 1288 and became independent from the Diocese of Nitra and its bishops. Still an agricultural and handicraft town, Nitra started to industrialize. Until World War I, distillery, agricultural machines factory, brewery, dairy and other works were established. The first indirect connection to a railway was a road built in 1850 to the closest station in Trnavek nad Váhom. The railway finally arrived to Nitra in 1876, when a connection from Surani was built. Later, lines were built to Topolkani, Loovek and Nove Zamki. As a part of Magyarization, from 1883 to 1919, Nitra was the seat of the Upper Hungarian Teaching Association, a government-sponsored association whose main goal was to apply Magyarization policies on Slovaks' 20th to 21st centuries. After World War I and in the atmosphere of post-war chaos and raising anarchy, the Hungarian National Council in Nitra decided to negotiate with the Czechoslovak army, pushing out Hungarian military forces and police from the territory of present Slovakia. The Hungarian National Council and the Town Council needed the Czechoslovak army to restore public order, but hoped that situation is only temporary and formally protested against the occupation on the 10th of December 1918. However, the town became a part of Czechoslovakia. Nitra continued to be the seat of the Nitra County until it was dissolved in 1928. In 1933, Nitra played an important role in the Slovak autonomist movement when the Pribina's celebration turned to the largest demonstration against Czechoslovacism. After breakup of Czechoslovakia in 1939, Nitra became a part of the First Slovak Republic and once again a seat of Nitra County until 1945. The period of the First Slovak Republic was tragic for the numerous Jewish population of Nitra, which was first victimized by the anti-Jewish law and then mostly exterminated in German concentration camps. The city was liberated by the Soviet Red Army in 1945. For only 3 years of restored democracy in Czechoslovakia, the communist period from 1948 to 1989 was marked by oppression of Catholic Church, which has traditionally strong presence in Nitra. Catholic seminaries, monasteries and other properties were nationalized and converted to museums, schools and offices. This period experienced the extensive growth building the housing projects and annexing of formerly independent villages. After the Velvet Revolution of 1989 and dissolution of Czechoslovakia, Nitra became part of newly established Slovakia and and became a seat of the Nitra region in 1996. Geography. Topography. Nitra lies at an altitude of 190 meters above sea level and covers an area of 100.48 square kilometers. It is located in the Nitra River Valley in the Danubian lowland, where the bigger part of the city is located. A smaller part is located at the southernmost reaches of the Kraj Mountains, more precisely at the foothill of the Zobor Mountain. It is around halfway between Slovak capital Bratislava, 92 kilometers away, and central Slovak city of Banská Bystrica, 118 kilometers away. Other towns in the surroundings include Trnava to the west, Topolčany to the north, Levice to the east, and Nové Zámky and Komárno to the south. A national natural reservation called Záborská Lesů Steppe is located within the city's boundaries. Climate. Nitra lies in the north temperate zone and has a continental climate with 4 distinct seasons. It is characterized by a significant variation between hot summers and cold, snowy winters. The city is located in the warmest and driest part of Slovakia. Main sites. The city has a wealth of historic structures and natural beauty in its surroundings. The most well-known points of interest are the Nitra Castle, the Old Town, and the adjacent hill, named Zobor, overlooking the city. Notable religious structures located in Nitra: St. Emmeram's Cathedral in Nitra Castle, a Piarist church of St. Ladislaus, and the adjacent monastery. The oldest church of the city is the St. Stephen Church, which was built in the 11th–12th century. Although the foundation of the building was constructed in the 9th century, the monastery on Piaristica Street was founded in the 13th–14th century. Its dominant church of St. Ladislaus was later destroyed by a fire and remodeled in 1742 to 1748 in Baroque style. 2 towers were also added. The main altar has a beautiful statue ornamentation which the portraits of St. Stephen and Ladislaus of Hungary. The interior was renovated in 1940 and 3 modern frescoes depicting themes from Slovak history of Nitra were created. The old town is dominated by the castle, which is one of the most interesting ancient structures in Slovakia. Archaeological findings in the past decades indicate that a large fortified castle had already stood here at the time of Samoz Empire, in the 7th century. Recent archaeological findings prove the existence of a church from the 9th century beneath the more recent Gothic St. Emmeram's Cathedral. The construction of the stone castle began during the 9th century during the reign of the Prince of Nitra Svetopluk. The castle currently serves as the seat of one of Roman Catholic bishoprics in Slovakia, which was founded in 880 as the first bishopric of Western and Eastern Slavs, which continued its existence since then, with the break from the 10th century until around 1110. The Drazovce Church is a remarkable example of the early Romanesque architecture. The Nitra Synagogue was built in 1908 to 1911 for the Neolithic Jewish community. It was designed by Lipot Baumhorn, the prolific Budapest-based synagogue architect. Located in a narrow lane, the building is a characteristic example of Baumhorn style, a mélange of Moorish, Byzantine and Art Nouveau elements. It faces the street with a 2-tower facade. The sanctuary is a domed hall supported by 4 pillars that also support the women's gallery. After more than a decade of painstaking restoration by the Principality of Nitra, the building is now used as a center for cultural activities. The women's gallery houses the fate of Slovak Jews, Slovakia's national Holocaust memorial exhibition. The Nitra Synagogue serves as a permanent exhibition space for graphic works by the Nitra-born Israeli artist Shraga Weil. The most powerful medium-wave transmitter center of Slovakia, running on 1098 kHz, was situated in Nitra at Velká Kostelany until recently. This transmitter could broadcast throughout all of Europe at night. Since 2003, however, it has operated on lower output to save energy costs, and has transmitted regional programming only. The Virgin Mary's Mission House at the Calvary Hill was built in 1765 for Spanish Order of Nazarenes. They were taking care of the church and pilgrims. Later, the building served as an orphanage. In 1878–85, this building was rebuilt in the Novo-Romanesque style, and in 1925 one new floor was added to the building. The building as we know it today is a work of Slovak architect Harmony. Nowadays the whole building is Mission House of the Divine Word Society. The Mission Museum of Nations and Cultures is located in this building. Demography. Current. According to the 2011 census, Nitra has a population of 78,916. 89.3% citizens declared Slovak nationality, 1.8% Hungarian, 0.7% Romani, 0.7% Czech, and 7.8% did not specify any nationality. Historical. The demographics changed dramatically during the 20th century. In 1910, from total population of 16,419 to 9,754 were Hungarians, 4,929 Slovaks and 1,636 Germans. Jews are hidden under these nationalities, estimated 1/4 of total population. In 1940, Nitra was home to 4,358 Jews. Religion. The religious makeup was 66.1% Roman Catholics and 2.6% Augsburg Confession. Other confession was declared only by less than 0.5%. Economy. GDP per capita in 2008 for the whole Nitra region was €10,508, which was below Slovakia's average. Nitra's traditional enterprises used to be brewery, grain mill, food processing plants and other food-related industry. In the new free trade economy after 1989, and after entering European Union and Euro currency club, only the wine bottling plant is left. Out of the factories started under the communist regime 1948 to 1989, the plastic processing plant is still doing well. However, the new business is booming. The most prevalent industries are electronics and car parts, concentrated in the new business park. The city plans to have in 2011 a balanced budget of €42 million. The flight operator Aeroslovakia has its head office on the grounds of Nitra Airport. Government. The city is governed by mayor and the city council. The mayor is the head of the city and its chief executive. The term of office is 4 years. The current mayor, Joseph Dvonc, was re-elected in 2010. He is supported by the following political parties: SMERSD, KDH, SNS, SF and HZD. The City Council is the legislative body, with 31 council members. The city is divided into 13 urban districts: Dolne Kriskany, Horne Kriskany, Stare Mesto, Serman, Klakochina, Dili, Perovske Hadje, Kinek, Malinas, Zobor, Drazovce, Krenova and Janakovce. Education. Nitra is the seat of 2 universities: University of Constantinus the Philosopher, with 13,684 students, including 446 doctoral students, and of the Slovak University of Agriculture, with 10,297 students, including 430 doctoral students. The city's system of primary education consists of 14 public public schools and 3 religious primary schools, enrolling in overall 6,945 pupils. Secondary education is represented by 5 gymnasia with 3,349 students, 8 specialized high schools with 3,641 students, and 5 vocational schools with 3,054 students. Schools in the city include the United Catholic School. Nitra used to be the site of the Jewish school Yeshiva of Nitra, the last surviving yeshiva in occupied Europe during World War II. Associated with famous rabbis Chaim Michael Dov Weiss Mandel and Shmuel Dovid Ungar, the yeshiva was moved to Mount Kisco, New York, USA, after the Second World War, where it still exists. Transport. Nitra is connected to Bratislava, Trnava, Sian nad Hronom, Zvolen and Banska Bystrica by freeway. There are also first-class road connections to Topolcany, Zlate Moravce, Vrabel and Nove Zamki. Nitra railway station forms part of the railway line between Nove Zamki, Surani and Prievidza, which passes through Nitra, but is not a main line. There is a railway junction a short distance north of the town, connecting the city with Leopoldov, Topolcany and Radozina. Nitra also has its own recreational airfield. It hosts the factory of the Aero Pro Eurofox ultralight. However, the closest international airport is Bratislava Airport. Local public transport is based on buses with 28 lines, covering the whole city, as well as extending to the neighboring municipalities of Luzianki, Nitriansky, Awancharovska, Stycha, Ivanka, Pre-Nitra and Brank. There was a chairlift leading to Zobor Hill, however, it has been closed since 1994. Culture. Nitra is home to several museums and galleries. The Museum of the Nitra region supervises collection objects on several fields. Since 1993, it has also an exhibition of the most precious artifacts discovered by the Archaeological Institute in Nitra. The exhibition contains more than 2,200 gold, silver and other objects, among them golden-plated plaques from Great Moravian Hill Fort Bojna. The Diocesan Museum of the Nitra Diocese on the Nitra Castle exhibits the facsimile of documents and archaeological discoveries closely connected to the origin of Christianity in Slovakia, including the oldest manuscript from the territory of Slovakia. Open Air Museum Osada Lupka is a reconstruction of Slavic village from early Middle Ages. The Slovak Agricultural Museum specializes on the history of agriculture and is the only one of its kind in Slovakia. The museum has also open-air exposition. The Mission Museum of Nations and Cultures exhibits various objects from missionary activities. The Museum of Jewish Culture in the synagogue presents culture and history and has a permanent exposition dedicated to the Holocaust. There are 2 theaters in Nitra, the Theater of Andrei Bagar and the Old Theater of Karol Spizak. The Nitra Amphitheater is one of the largest in Slovakia. Nitra's main arts museum is the Nitra Gallery. Another popular gallery is the Foyer Gallery, a part of the Old Theater of Karol Spizak. A permanent exhibition of prestigious Jewish painter Shraga Val is installed in the exhibition hall of the Nitra Synagogue. Nitra is the hometown of popular Slovak music bands Gladiator, Hawkeye Slice, Desmod, Sochi Voka and Bora. Famous people. Svatopluk I, Prince of Nitra, King of Great Moravia. Pribina, Prince of the Nitra and Balaton Principalities. Svatopluk II, Prince of Nitra. Kasal, Prince of the Balaton Principality. St. Bystrik, Bishop of Nitra. Beakut of Hungary, Duke of Nitra, King of Hungary. Stibor of Stiborix, Ispan of Nitra. Janos Botian, Hungarian Karuk General. Tamazes, Hungarian Karuk leader, died here in 1708. Imre Adosi, Hungarian piarist, monk and teacher. Vilmos Fraknoi, Hungarian historian. Beakutele Banga, Hungarian politician, was born here. Oskar Gross, shipowner in England. Juraj Kolnik, professional ice hockey player. Anton Lamden, painter, draftsman, and printmaker. Branislav Mazej, professional ice hockey player. Lubomir Moravsik, football player. Zita Plastinska, maiden name Kanya Iova, member of the European Parliament. Ottokar Prohaska, Hungarian Roman Catholic theologian and bishop of Szekesfehérvár. Shmuel Dovid Ungar, the rabbi of Nitra and dean of the Nitra Yeshiva. Hi Michael Dov Weissmandel, a rabbi who became known for his efforts to save the Jews of Slovakia during the Holocaust. Pavel Husovsky, deputy speaker of the National Council of the Slovak Republic. Stefan Ruzicka, professional ice hockey player. Miroslav Stok, professional football, currently signed with Fenerbahce SK. Joseph Stumpel, professional ice hockey player. Boris Velebike, professional ice hockey player. Julius Strisko, Olympic wrestler. International relations. Twin towns, sister cities. Nitra is twinned with. Gallery.